So we just want to make sure that you realize this isn't a super daunting task. It can be very time efficient just by using your iPhone or smartphone. I would recommend using, whatever staff member or owner has the best smartphone, but really anything iPhone 7 or later is going to work great. They all shoot great video and great photo. If you have the option, turn it to 4K mode on the iPhone, and think of your studio and all of the locations in it as a potential area to film and capture content. And it could be the lobby, could be the front of the building. We definitely want to get stuff in the studio. If it's, say, a decalash, we want to get the technician actually working, but really the whole studio is yours to use. You see, we have this picture from Row House Wiregrass, and it's a couple staff members, holding the rowers up on the top of the table. Doesn't necessarily have to be that, but we love that creativity. And if you encourage your staff to have fun, they're going to come up with things that you didn't even dream of. And we do, when we're getting boomerangs, we recommend using vertical mode, and testimonials, we recommend doing landscape mode. Not necessarily a hard and fast rule, because the content can be repurposed and reframed in a lot of different ways, but just a good rule of thumb. And if the studio is dark, some of the fitness studios, the actual experience, the lights are off, and it's, or maybe it's a dark room with lights going, which is awesome. And people love that experience. And you want to capture it the way it actually is for an option, but you also, right after the class can turn the lights on and capture some with better and brighter lighting, which might work with that more vibrant look. And once again, it's not a silver bullet. It's not either or. You can capture them both. We can test them and see what's working better. So just a note that we want to make sure that, you're staying on brand when you're capturing the content, using the correct studio colors, making sure that whatever clothing is being worn is on brand. And obviously we want to make sure to get all of this creative approved by corporate before running, to make sure we're in sync also with the latest equipment and that kind of thing. So let's just look at a potential scenario. You've just finished a row house class. Sorry, Aaron, I just had one note before talking about testimonials. And just, you could get 3 passionate members who you've gotten right after class to say we're at a row house, and you've gotten them to do some boomerang, so some rowing and some weights on the side. And then right after that, say that takes 3 to 5 minutes. You could spend 3 minutes doing authentic photos where those same members are giving high fives and that kind of thing. And then you could capture these testimonials, which really only take 2 to 3 minutes as well. And so let's jump into those testimonials, Aaron. Thank you. Okay, jumping ahead. So the testimonial, we feel might be the most powerful piece of content that you can create and keep generating, and getting members of all kinds of different demographics and interests to join, because they are your raving fans, and they're going to directly tell the audience better than anyone else can why you should join the studio. We found that these 5 questions work absolutely awesome for capturing testimonials. Now, you don't only need to use these 5 questions. You could create some on the spot, or you may find some that work better. We've just used these before and they work really well. So it's, how did you find us? Were you skeptical? Why did you decide to join? What happened after you bought/joined? And who would you recommend our product or service to? And you can just give them a little bit of coaching to say, like, so it's, how did you find us? So let's say it's Yoga 6. I found out about Yoga 6 through my friend who joined and loved it. And so with that little bit of coaching, these 5 questions, you're going to get some great answers. And they don't all need to be perfect. Over that 3 minutes that it takes to get the testimonial, we're just looking for that 15 to 60-second chunk of really great content. And from our experience, most everybody gets there because they're passionate about it, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be, show that enthusiasm. It can help to get an iPhone tripod that you either set on a table or hold. We can share a link for one of those. They just cost about $10, but if you can definitely film handheld, just keep your arms close and stabilized. And it usually works best to stand within about 3 feet of the subject. If you're standing any further, the audio is just not going to be quite as good. So that's some basic tips on capturing testimonials. And Aaron, if you jump to the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about what we call store tour scripts or offer driven videos. And so the offer driven video is could be an owner, could be a coach, could be a staff member, could be a lash technician standing right outside of the studio and saying, hey, my name is so-and-so from, in this example, use Yoga 6. We have a really amazing limited time offer for you today. So come on in and I'll tell you all about it. And actually wave the customer in the door. This arm movement or any kind of movement really helps capture, the viewer. One of my favorite marketers, Billy Jean, talks about how in that first 5 seconds, you need to grab them. And so if that arm movement does it, that's great. It could be, panning up. We worked with a client in Colorado, panning up from the beautiful mountains, right past the Starbucks next door, right to the studio. Anything that's gonna catch that eye is really, really important. And then you can keep on going into the studio and do a little store tour with the front desk person, and then say, entering the studio and setting the mat down. Or you could cut right after the door and say you're a studio where masks are required. You could show the person putting the mask on before entering. And we just feel that these type of videos are important because, and really across all of the content, is that during the pandemic time and this new era that we're in, we want to show people that the studio is open, that members are having fun, and that the appropriate safety measures for the area are being used. So that's some tips. Definitely feel free to email me, nick@franchiseramp.com, if you have more questions about this, but want to toss it over to Aaron to talk about how you can get your team on board and start implementing these measures immediately.